Hello, library friends. It's Miss Juanta from the Oak Park Public Library, and today I'd like to introduce a very special friend. Her name is Yoko Terretta, and she's going to discuss Sashiko. And Sashiko is a form of Japanese embroidery. Sashiko translates to little stabs, and I'm going to show you an example of Sashiko. I hope you enjoy this next video.
Hi, my name is Yoko, and I identify as an American Japanese cis woman, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I have lived in Oak Park for 16 years with my husband, and we have 2 children and a poodle. I'm honored that Mrs. Juanta invited me to share a little about my ancestors' culture. And today I'd like to talk to you more about Sashiko, which you just heard is a type of Japanese embroidery. Sashiko is special to me because my aunt introduced it to me when I last visited her in 2015. Anything associated with my mother's sister is golden in my heart. My aunt loves me like a daughter, and being in her presence is a strong blessing of belonging, and that feeling of belonging can be a rare gift for an American with a Japanese face like me. So I'd like to show you a few more examples of Sashiko today. What I love about these samples that I found in Japan is that the patterns are printed onto the fabric to make it easy for those of us who are less artistically inclined to create something really beautiful. And then the printed lines disappear in the first wash, so no one's the wiser. This one will eventually be a table runner. I think you can see the repeating patterns. And it was really fun to weave in non-traditional colors and threads to mix in a bit of my own personality. This one is super cute, and it's untouched, as you can see, so you can see the pattern printed on there. And there's a lot of kits like this that include a piece of fabric like this with a printed pattern, a needle, and enough of the suggested colors to complete the kit. It's a bit like paint by numbers in that way. When Mrs. Juanta asked me to create this culture share, it got me thinking about how easy it is to share a physical object from my Japanese ancestry. But I was really stumped on what tangible artifact I could share related to my American Japanese heritage. As I thought about it, it dawned on me that embroidery or stitching is a perfect metaphor for my American Japanese experience, because when you happen to hold multiple cultures, you find yourself stitching and unstitching and restitching various aspects of those cultures, either together or apart. For example, there are some tight, bold threads on aspects of my ancestral culture that I hold onto. This might be things like the Japanese characters used to spell my name and my family's names, my favorite foods, my second language, heirloom traditional clothing I hope to inherit one day, memories of summers spent in Japan being part of the majority, the sacredness and stillness of how New Year's is celebrated outside of this country, and then, of course, photos of my grandparents whose DNA I carry. And then there are some loose, faint threads on aspects of culture I don't know much about or have a lot of interest in. Sumo and sake, not my cup of tea. A legacy patriarchal society where women are not equals in the workplace doesn't match my values. Lastly, there are some threads I find I want to or need to weave in from what it means to be American. Assertiveness, for example, which is seemingly essential to many careers here in the States, is the antithesis of the indirect style of communication that is necessary in Japan. Or there are centuries-old sayings that discourage confrontation, either in support of social justice or in defense of your individual rights. Unthinkable, right, to hold your tongue as an American when dissent is essentially part of who we are. So you can see there's a lot to sift through and weave together. Well, whether you're interested in picking up a new craft or are already into needlework, I hope you will consider giving Sashiko a try. And perhaps you too can use that time to reflect on what culture aspects you stitch together in your life. Thank you for listening.